Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, we're joined by the Assembly Minority Leader on the Republican side. Greg Hafen joins us for the whole show on all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room of the Nevada Builders Alliance. Coverage of the 2025 legislative session is brought to you by Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. The Retail Association of Nevada, looking out for business. And by Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from Carson City here at the home of the Nevada Builders Alliance, and we're delighted to welcome back to the program Greg Hafen. He is the Republican Assembly Minority Leader. Pleasure to have you back, sir.
Good to be here, Sam.
Thank you. First of all, how big is your district?
I represent half of Pahrump. Then I go into Las Vegas, West Summerlin, go to the M, circle all the way around Las Vegas, Providence, Sky Canyon, Mount Charleston, all the way over to the edge of North Las Vegas.
So not quite the Pico-Cachia district, but a pretty big one.
Just half of that old district, that Senate district, yeah.
Okay, so the movie studios.
Yes.
That's got to be a big topic of discussion then amongst your constituents. What's the thought so far?
So far, the presentation came back not as good of a return to the state as I had originally thought and was told. So I think they have some work to do. They need to tweak it. But it's just, so it's got some work, needs some definite work to get there. I think the return was originally at 50 cents for every dollar that we gave, and now it went down to 26 cents when they merged the Warner Brothers Sony deal. So for me, that doesn't really pencil out very well. Also trying to figure out where the money's going to come from since we have budget constraints this session.
Okay, and the most obvious one is the Medicaid situation. What are your thoughts on that? Senator Titus was saying on the program that she thought that the state had the money, but not the money for everything.
So when it comes to Medicaid, I know there's been a lot of talk about cuts to Medicaid, cuts to Medicaid, cuts to Medicaid. We haven't seen any cuts to Medicaid. And actually what the state of Nevada has seen is in our provider fee, we actually got expedited Medicaid funds back from the state or from the federal government to the state. Those payments should be going out either this week or next week to the hospitals to reimburse them for Medicaid. So we've actually been seeing the opposite of what everybody's talking is. Everybody said we're going to see cuts to Medicaid, but we've actually seen Medicaid being expedited into the state of Nevada, which is a plus.
Okay, and It's so interesting watching the administration, and I don't want to get into a big national politics thing, but seeing, what's happening so fast with the administration. There are a lot of things that seem to be going out there that are not actually real, versus the things that are actually occurring that in some ways you look at and go, that seems kind of crazy, and then they get reversed a couple of days later. So I keep telling people, take a deep breath.
Absolutely.
So
the sky is not falling. And you know what I do, if I could just touch on the federal issues, is I'm actually happy to see the federal government finally following in Nevada's lead. Nevada has always had a balanced budget. We always have a rainy day fund. We actually have the largest rainy day fund right now in the state's history, and it continues to grow. And so I'm happy to see the federal government finally start to go in that direction. I think it was 2001, the last time the federal government had a balanced budget. That's 24 years ago.
Yes, the Clinton administration were the last ones that were fiscally responsible until the end. It actually looked at one point like we were going to be able to pay off the national debt. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and then multiple crises occurred since then. But yeah, interesting times. All right, Democrats in the Assembly would only need one of your 15 Republicans to break ranks and go along with them to have enough votes to override a veto by Governor Lombardo at the end of the session. What are the chances do you think that could happen?
Well, we have 4 bills that were vetoed from last session sitting on the chief clerk's desk. There was not a single Republican in the Assembly that voted for any of those bills. It's not going to happen.
You seem very confident on that.
I am very confident on that.
You're the sponsor of AB 148, the voter ID bill, that will require the DMV to issue voter ID cards at no charge and carry them with you when they vote. It's similar to the voter ID proposal that Democratic AG Ross Miller backed back in 2015. The version of the voter ID bill was overwhelmingly supported by voters in 2024. You pre-filed this bill in January. It has yet to get a hearing. If it doesn't get a hearing or is otherwise not approved by the legislator but is approved again by the voters in 2026, does it become law then?
It becomes a constitutional mandate, and therefore, yes, becomes the law of the land. What I'm trying to do with my bill is to say 73% of the Nevada population, both sides of the aisle, want voter ID. They want to ensure that our elections are secured, and that is one way for us to say our elections are secured. You have to show your ID to buy tobacco, alcohol, just about anything you want to do in society.
Almost breathe.
Oh, not there yet, thank goodness.
But close.
And so it's just one way of ensuring to the public that we have secure elections. And so what I want to do is I want the process to start now. 73% of Nevadans want it. Let's get it into statute now. Let's work on the regulations during the interim, and let's be prepared because it will pass on the next ballot in 2026.
You know, it's interesting. Sometimes the public gets ahead of legislators in terms of what they want to see done. And it seems to me to be definitely an issue where the public says, we can't do literally almost anything without ID. Why is it that our most important thing doesn't require ID? I don't see the Democrats' defense of not having to show ID really making sense. And Todd Story, when he was head of the ACLU, was on the program a few years ago and said that he thought that 10% of Nevadans, which would be 300,000 people, roughly, did not have ID. Now, I'm in favor personally. I'm not a big one in favor of raising taxes, but if people need an ID, I'm in favor of raising my taxes to help anybody who wants to vote to get ID. Do you think that it's 10% of the public but doesn't have ID?
No, I think it's less than that.
How do they survive?
It's definitely less than that now. We've taken measures in the last about 3 legislative cycles to ensure that more people have IDs and it's available to them at no cost. Melissa Hardy had a great bill last session that would help individuals get ID for free as they're exiting prison and they need the IDs. And so we have collectively as a body passed a number of legislations to address that 10%. Is there still a small percentage out there that don't have it? Sam, there's some people that just don't want an ID. Right. They refuse to go to the DMV, and that's how they want to live their life. And, you know, good for them. But at the end of the day, it's very simple. And I believe actually Senator Stone has a bill to say that if you have a financial hardship, you can get an ID for free. And so things like that are important because I personally believe that everyone should not only vote, but educate themselves on the issues and the individuals that are running for office so they make an educated vote.
And I couldn't agree with you more, but the reality is that I would say the majority of people, the vast majority of people, get their information, if they get it at all, from 30-second ads.
It's true.
And I don't see how that's going to change, because people have too much to do in their daily lives, taking care of their family, going to work, taking care of the school, and working 2 or 3 jobs in some cases. How do they have the time to delve into the issues? Which they should, but...
Well, one way is to watch your show.
Bless you.
And understand what the issues are and what the candidates are talking about. And then hopefully you have 30-second clips for them to just watch and indulge. Personally, what I try to do is send out emails. I've got a very large email base, and try to get the information out to the individuals, and not only on myself, but on some of the voter issues and ballot measures that are coming forward. Because I'll have a lot of individuals email me, text me, call me, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? So I try to preempt that and say, all right, here's how I feel. This is what I see. Sometimes I just forward a link to an article that I find that has a good summary. But that's my way of saying, here's the information, do your own research, make an educated decision. This is how I stand. Like voter ID, absolutely supported 110% come the 2026 election. Make sure you vote for voter ID.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back more with the Assembly Minority Leader, Greg Hafen, after this timeout.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Greg Hafen. He's the Republican Assembly Minority Leader. As we're talking about elections, what about this whole deal with, the ballots coming first, and then you're getting, the voter's guide after the fact, votes coming in after Election Day? People don't understand how the system works, and so they're getting upset that there's fraud because of that. What's your solution to this?
Well, I was actually frustrated this past election, and not because the system was rigged or anything like that, but my actual mail ballot showed up in my mailbox in September. Give my clerk the best kudos, credit. She was Johnny on the spot, getting her job done, expedited in a timely manner. But the sample ballots didn't come out until 2 weeks before the election. Well, now we've got a month and a half before the election. Everybody's receiving their actual mail ballots. they're confused because they think it's the sample ballot, rightfully so. And so they're going through and there's no information on it. I'm getting phone calls, text messages, emails again, saying, hey, I don't understand this. Normally there's an explanation of the questions on here. What's going on? And I had to tell them, no, that's your actual ballot. Hold on to that. And then later the sample ballot came out. And so this session I have sponsored, I believe it's Assembly Bill 148, to try to fix that problem and say, hey, you know what? Sample ballots need to come out before the mail ballots. And working with the speaker, we've come up with a timeline to ensure that that happens. Because it's so important, like I mentioned, for people to be able to educate themselves. The sample ballots are one tool that people can use to go through the issues, read the pros and the cons, even though sometimes it gets complicated in those documents. And so we wanted to ensure that the sample ballots come out first, and then the mail ballots come out after that. And it's very interesting. You have the minority leader and the speaker as sponsors of this bill bringing it forward because both sides of the aisle see the problem there and want to fix it.
Do you find that you have more things to agree with the speaker in terms of getting legislation passed than fighting?
We're always going to fight on the big issues.
Right, of course.
But
I mean, there's over 1,000 bills.
There's over 1,000 bills. In a typical session, 75 to 80% are going to be bipartisan.
Okay, let's make note of that. 75 to 80% are going to get passed in a bipartisan manner.
Ballpark, historically speaking, sometimes it's a little bit lower because there are issues that we all agree that this is an issue, right? Whether it's education, Medicaid funding, it's an issue. We know it's an issue. We don't always agree on the solution, on how we get there, but we do try to work together to come up with a solution that's best for Nevada. And the best example I can give is, I live in rural Nevada. I look at legislation and go, you know what, that's great for Las Vegas and maybe Reno, but it doesn't really work in the rural communities. However, if we amend the bill and we tweak it just a little bit right here, it's not going to harm the rural communities, and it'll still do the good that they're trying to do. And that's what I've always tried to do since I've been up here is look at it from, here's the whole state, here's an issue in Las Vegas. How do we fix the Vegas issue without harming the rest of the state?
Talking about rural Nevada, you're the sponsor of AB 288, which would make an appropriation to build a new elementary school in White Pine County. For the school district there, we had the superintendent on the program. Those kids are under terrible conditions in White Pine County. What are your thoughts? I mean, unfortunately, the bottom line is it's a lot of money. It
is a lot of money. Assemblyman Burt Gurr is the primary on that bill, and he brought it to me, and they desperately need the school. I know Assemblywoman Erica Mosca actually went up there. She looked at the school. She understands the issues because she saw it firsthand. We obviously have some budget constraints this session, and so it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But we're working on it. We're looking at creative ways of funding things. We set up a program last session to allow the counties to tap into a pool of money and then basically repay it as a low interest or no interest loan. And so we are looking at some of those creative ways of doing this. Time will tell. The Economic Forum comes out in May, so hold your breath and hopefully it comes in decent and we're able to find the money to help them out.
Well, and it's fascinating because at this time, I mean, the gaming industry has been doing month after month of billion-dollar months. One would think that there was plenty of money going into the pot. Not so? Or is it just all accounted for?
A lot of it is accounted for. You know, previous years, we had F1, Super Bowl, so we had some really good years. Well, now we don't have the Super Bowl. We have F1. We don't have the Taylor Swift concert. And so a lot of...
You got Beyonce coming.
Well...
Two sold-out shows. I know, it's just one weekend. I'm kidding.
No, but that was the same thing with Taylor Swift. I mean, the Taylor Swift economy as a whole was fascinating to me. Not a big fan of her music. However, the economy and watching...
You just lost half your voters.
That's okay. I'm on the budget committee. I'm more worried about the impact to the state than music, but that's okay. So, you know, everything that I hear is the economic forum is probably going to come in flat or slightly down. I'm hoping that it is flat. If it comes in above projection, it's going to be wonderful. But as of right now, I'm anticipating it to be fairly flat.
And where does that leave education, and where should education dollars go this time around when you've already put in well over $2 billion in the last cycle?
Again, we're still proposing, the governor's recommendation at least is proposing to increase funding for education across the board. I know it's been criticized that it's still not enough.
It's never enough.
Correct. It's never going to be enough. Even if you funded it at the most of any state in the entire nation. But it is. We're increasing it. I want to say it's like $80 for the biennium, so it's not a lot of money. But it's interesting because we are factoring in a cost of living increase of, I believe, 5.6%, but student growth of it being flat. So we're not seeing the student population grow. And I don't think that the inflation factor of 5.6 is going to continue. I think it'll be slightly less. And so when you start calculating it, it'll end up being more than the $80, I think, per pupil that we end up funding. But again, we have to wait for the economic forum to come out.
All right, we'll take a break, back with our Assembly Minority Leader after this timeout.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Your good times are at Tamarack Casino during the $150,000 Denim and Diamonds giveaways, with cash and free play drawings every Thursday and Saturday, and $30,000 in grand finale giveaways Saturday, May 31st, including a top prize of $20,000 guaranteed. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Greg Hafen. He is the Republican Assembly Minority Leader. I'm having trouble talking this morning for some reason. Going back to the film bill for a moment, you know, one of the things that strikes me is that we have a housing crisis in Las Vegas. We have a housing crisis in Reno and the environs. If you bring in a major industry, where are those people going to live?
That's a very good question. I do know that Governor Lombardo has been working very hard with the federal administration to acquire more land, to build more homes.
Okay, so these are literally the lands bills, correct?
Yes.
Okay, we've been running around in circles on these lands bills, and in fact, we have Congressman Amodei, who's been working on these lands bills for years, and it seems that Senator Rosen is proposing other lands bills that are not, you know, in line with what Amodei's proposing. It seems like we're going in a circle and everybody's shooting each other.
Well, I'm hopeful that they'll get together and work together on a bipartisan manner to get things done.
You are an optimist, sir.
I have the utmost respect for Congressman Amodei. I think he's a great individual. I've gone back and researched his career and find it fascinating. Every time he talks, I just thoroughly enjoy it. And so I have faith that they will get it done. The question is will they be able to acquire enough land in the package to accommodate everything that we have going on in Southern Nevada or not?
Well, the other part of it is that, and I had discussions with developers on this, if you get a lands bill passed, it isn't like the day after you can suddenly start building. I mean, it's up to a 10-year process to be able to get these lands bills and the BLM and everybody else involved to approve where you want to go. So whatever you're going to do is not a short-term thing. And we have great short-term needs. Look at the cost of housing in Reno, for example.
Yes. I believe that they'll be able to expedite a lot of this. The governor's new housing bill, I don't know if you saw, I believe it's AB 540, actually requires an expedited process to be put into place by all of the state, county, as well as even the private regulated utility companies, to really try to shorten that window up and get homes built quicker, as well as there's some mechanisms in there to reduce permit fees from the local municipalities to help keep the cost down. So I'm encouraged that I think that the governor's got a plan to try to expedite that. So it won't be 10 years. Will still take a couple of years. Absolutely. I mean, it takes a year or two to just to put in the backbone infrastructure just to get going. And so it will happen. And I'm hopeful that it'll be faster than 10 years.
And that's where we have to leave it for today. Will you please come back?
Yes.
We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
And we'll be right back.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room of the Nevada Builders Alliance. Coverage of the 2025 legislative session is brought to you by Pro Group Management, Workers' Comp that works for you. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. The Retail Association of Nevada, looking out for business. And by Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers come to you from Carson City, from the headquarters of the Nevada Builders Alliance. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching.